Hey everybody, it's Herbert, and today I'm going to take you through a May garden update, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some ideas that came to mind when I was thinking about how to um, companion plant and succession plant. And really, it just, as I've been watching this garden build up and develop, it's given me ideas about how I might want to do things in the future. And I think you might find some of these thoughts interesting, or maybe you could give me some feedback on them. So, this is my garden. It's actually has been really accelerating in its growth since the hot weather rolled in a couple of days ago. So, we have this is the newest bed where I have some winter squash that I've just put down. Um, this is kind of I would call this a perennial bed. It has sunchokes, it has potatoes, and it has Egyptian walking onions. I have okra planted towards the back, zucchini here, and I'm just getting the first zucchini plant popping up there. Then I have some pea plants that are in the cages there, and I have some dill and cilantro that are coming up here. So where I'd really like to focus today is the garden that's been most productive so far. And what came to mind when I was looking at this garden is how these plants have kind of worked out almost a symbiotic relationship with each other, being intermingled. So what I've noticed is that since I have planted these onions amongst the potatoes and the sunchokes, there's much less pest pressure. I'm not seeing as many bugs. I don't think the bugs like the onions as much. I think they're a good pest deterrent. I don't even think the rodents like these onions. And these Egyptian walking onions are actually pretty potent. They have a little bit of a kick when you bite into them. So I would imagine that smell or that chemical is there to deter a lot of bugs and pests and animals that would otherwise be gnawing on it. Potatoes are a nightshade. They have their own defense chemicals in their leaves, which is why animals tend to stay away from them and they don't really chew on them as much. And so those two plants seem to be deterring a lot of the pest action that I was seeing in my sunchoke garden last year. And so this is kind of a good combination in the sense that these plants are working together to kind of deter the pest pressure. The other way in which they're working together is that the timing kind of works out with them, because in particular with the potatoes, they're more of a summertime tuber. So if you get them started early in the spring, I think it's like around 2 months before you're getting into harvesting your potatoes. You can replant in many places and get a second harvest in the fall. But even if you didn't do that, you could take the potatoes out and then the sunchokes would come in as your second wave of tubers, because they mature more towards the fall, around September, October time. And so what's good about this combination is that potatoes will feed you during the summer and fall, and then the sunchokes, they're going to feed you throughout the later fall, all through the winter into the spring. And the potatoes is something that you're going to want to bring inside, but the sunchokes, you just leave them in the ground. They store better in the ground than taken out of the ground like a potato. And you can have calories coming from your garden year round. You could have a summertime and a wintertime tuber working together to keep a steady harvest available from your garden. The onions are nice just because they have a very long growing season, and they seem to just grow around everything else. So, these guys started, I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee. These guys started coming up at the end of January, and now they're exploding. There's onions making onions, so they're very reliable as well. So I just like this idea that if you're going to plan out your garden, pick out plants that can grow next to each other, mutually benefit each other, and then also work out in terms of timing, in terms of creating like a steady flow of food from your garden, whether it's the spring, the summer, the fall, right? Think about succession planting. Think about, you know, what's going to be my first harvest, my second harvest, my third harvest, because that's how you're going to maximize your food production in a very limited amount of space. And you're just going to, it's more fun to be able to go out and do things in your garden rather than just wait for a very brief growing season or harvest season to do that. So anyway, let me know if you guys have any ideas with your garden, or kind of what, if my thoughts are getting you to think of anything that you might want to provide as feedback. And thanks for joining me. I'll catch you next time, guys.